Good day, good people. It's your girl Sid from Savvy Sentient, and welcome to today's video. Now, the topic of today's video is spiritual possession, what it is, and how you can benefit from it. Now, before you freak out, understand that it is not what you think it is, although some of you know exactly what it is. Stay tuned, and I'll explain everything. Okay, so at this point, you're probably wondering, if possession is not what I think it is, then what the hell is it? One moment, I have my notes. According to Webster, possession is defined as domination by something such as an evil spirit, passion, or an idea. And that there is precisely the issue, the reason for this video today. The media, Hollywood, the church, and apparently educational resources like the dictionary usually tend to correlate possession with evil entities, demons, and the devil. If not these things, then more times than not, they're going to try to imply that anyone capable of spiritual possession must be suffering from some type of mental condition. But did you know that spiritual possession is not always malevolent, nor is it a sign of declining mental health? Did you know that? In fact, many cultures and religions practice spiritual and ancestral occupation. It can be found in Buddhism, Islam, and even Christianity. Y'all heard of catching the Holy Ghost, right? Many Southeast Asian countries practice this, as well as parts of Africa, and especially in the Caribbean through practices like Palo, Santeria, and Haitian Voodoo. Through these possessions or mountings, a spirit is able to communicate with the host and others, experience emotion, or simply enjoy the feeling of being human again, or for the first time, depending on the spirit. Many advanced spiritualists will use spiritual inhabitation as a way to gain insight from their ancestors and their spirit team. This is a way for them to gain guidance. Now, for all of my fellow blurs and nerds out there, one of my favorite examples of this can be found in Avatar: The Last Airbender. Now, while Aang doesn't technically get possessed when he goes into the Avatar state, he does go into a trance where he can converse with all of the other avatars that came before him to get guidance. To see someone get mounted can look something like this, minus the glowing eyes and the illuminated forehead arrow. Okay, so in a mounted state, one can receive guidance, warnings, and even information about that spirit's own death. Yes, a spirit can mount you and give you clues as to how they died and who they were. A very compelling case of this is the murder of Teresita Basa, in which a man and his wife were sleeping in the bed, and his wife was mounted by Teresita. Teresita gave her first and her last name, the name of her killer, and even clues to confirm that her killer was who she said. When the woman awoke, she had no recollection of any of this, but the man did. So these clues helped to solve her murder. Now, there are some people who want to discredit this case simply because it defies logic and what they were taught, but it is very interesting and very compelling. So if you'd like to dig a little deeper with this case, I'm going to leave a link in the description box below. But that's just one example of how mountings can be helpful and productive, and not necessarily a malevolent or scary event. Okay, now the necessity for this video became apparent when I realized the stigmas being placed on African traditional religions, or ATRs, as well as the lack of education surrounding these and other spiritual practices. For years, especially if you were raised in any Abrahamic religion such as Christianity, Judaism, or Islam, we were taught that anything that goes against our respective holy books is inadvertently evil. This idea is then reinforced by Hollywood by displaying African diasporic practices as nothing more than savage devil worship. A prime example of this is in the movie Chucky. Chucky calls upon Damballa, who is a Haitian voodoo deity, a saint or Loa, and also the right hand man to God, because surprise, voodoo practitioners do believe in a God, okay? But he calls upon Damballa to assist him in possessing a doll, which then goes on to murder everybody. This is what's being portrayed about our culture. And because of this, we go on to fear and misunderstand our culture. And that's sad. Which brings me back to where we started. Possession, mounting, spiritual inhabitation or occupation, whatever you want to call it, is a beautiful practice. Through this practice, I've been able to commune with my high ancestor, my spirit guides, my other ancestors, as well as the ancestors and spirit guides of my loved ones and my clients. I've even been able to commune with spirits I don't have any direct link to. Now, granted, as I get more comfortable on my path as a medium, I see a lot more activity. However, don't think that because you don't actively practice mediumship that you can't commune with your loved ones in this way. You most definitely can. So, if you would like to try to encourage your spirit team and ancestors to commune with you in this way, I've constructed a list of a few things that you can try. So, without further ado, let's get into it, y'all. All right, so the very first thing that you're going to want to try is to understand that this is something that's going to take both time and patience. This is not a gift or a practice that you can cultivate overnight. It may take several tries, okay? So be patient with yourself and be patient with your spirit team, okay? Number 2 is to be sure that you have an altar set up for your spirit team, for the ones that you would like to speak with and also build a relationship with, okay? You have to build a relationship with them if you want this to work. And also, leave them offerings, okay? This means coffee, water, candy, food, plates like you would make for yourself, food, okay? Feed them like you would feed yourself. Never give them anything you wouldn't eat yourself, all right? Number 3 is speaking to them. Speak to them often and speak to them in the present tense as if they are here with you physically, because they are. Do not speak to them in the past tense, and do not speak to them as if they are dead. Speak to them like you speak to any of your friends or your family who are physically around you. All right. Number 4 is using relaxing herbs with sedative effects like mugwort or lavender or whatever else you could think of that might have a relaxing or sedative effect to help you surrender to the process. One of the biggest obstacles for me in the beginning was the need to want to control this. You don't need to control this. Let your spirit guides, your ancestors come through and say and do whatever it is that they need to say and do, okay? However, you can consent, and that's my 5th point. Consent. Consent matters, even in the spirit world. If this is something that you are ready for, make sure that you make it evident to them. Make it clear. Speak it to them that you give consent and that you're ready to receive messages in this way. Only invite your most benevolent ancestors and spirits to mount you. If you had a terrible uncle or cousin who was just super trash, do not invite them to mount you, because guess what? They're still super trash. And now they're going to be super trash in your body. So there's that. Okay. If you feel anything negative or anything that you don't want, send it away firmly, because again, it's your body and you have consent. So that's number 5. And my 6th point finally is meditation. This one should have been obvious, but in case it wasn't, it's meditation. All right. So there are several meditations right here on YouTube that you can use to connect to your ancestors and your spirit guides. In fact, the very first time that I connected to my high ancestor, I went to sleep listening to one of those meditations. And I have to say that was one of the most beautiful mountings I have ever experienced. Okay. So definitely get comfortable with meditation, do it often, and use the ones that call in your ancestors and your spirit guides. All right. So that's just about all I have for this video. I hope that it was enlightening and insightful, and hopefully it inspired some type of change in the way that you view possession or spiritual inhabitation as a whole. I do understand that I cannot destigmatize possession all in just one video, but I hope that at the very least I got a conversation started, and I'd like to see that conversation keep going. So go ahead and drop some comments, questions, may do a Q&A. So drop those questions in the comments below, and let's keep the conversation going. Also, thank you all so much for watching. And until the very next time I see y'all, I'm wishing you all love and light and everything right. And I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.